Good morning. It is finally spring and I am in my favorite place. I am going to be hiking Thunder Knob today in the North Cascades. And this is the first trail I'm doing. I'm doing a couple of trails here and seeing some of the sights in the North Cascades. And it is the beginning of spring. The birds are chirping. There's plants growing on the lower elevations, and then on the upper elevations there is still beautiful snow. Doing Thunder Knob, and that is a beautiful trail along Diablo Lake here, and it's about 3 miles with 600 feet of gain, so it's going to be a good warm-up hike, but the views of the surrounding peaks are going to be spectacular. Let's get going. So behind me is the main obstacle on this trail. This is Colonial Creek, and there is no bridge. The bridge has been out for years, so you have to basically find your way across. And it changes every year because it kind of floods and you can see all the debris. If I remember correctly, there's a good crossing up this way, so I'm gonna make my way up the bank. There's not like one good crossing spot because it changes every year, so it really is kind of ford the creek yourself. But it's not too bad. We'll see what it's like this year. Made it across. Turns out that was a harder way. That log was good, it was solid, but oh yeah, a little bit of a balancing act there. I think I can rock off a little bit further upstream to avoid that coming back, but hardest part is over. Now I just get to enjoy this, and pretty soon I'll be seeing those mountains. That is Colonial Peak right there. Oh, wow. You can see the actual transition of, like, we've got lush green forests, and it is still firmly winter at the higher elevations. But this is one of the reasons you do this trail. It has some amazing mountain views for barely any climbing, and now I've basically done all the elevation, and it's going to continue. And views like this are just going to keep getting better, but this is what I came to see, is the mountains like this. And listen. It's just birds and babbling brooks. Sound of spring. Well, here I am at the top of Thunder Knob at the north-facing viewpoint, and this weather is perfect for this. The sun, the birds, the views, everything is just so peaceful. And there are quite a few viewpoints here. I'm at the north-facing one. There's also the west-facing one, which I think is maybe a little bit better, but I'll show off the north-facing one first. And the big thing here is Diablo Lake below and Jack Mountain. But this weather, and not a lot of weather windows like this in the early season in the North Cascades. You got to take advantage. So here is the west-facing viewpoint, and I think this is probably the better one just because it has an unobstructed view of the lake. And one of the things about Diablo Lake is the beautiful color. But this is Sourdough Mountain, obviously more of beautiful Diablo Lake, and that is Davis Peak. And then there is probably my favorite peekaboo view ever, Pyramid Peak. And then Colonial Peak is like right over here. You just got to go around the corner to be able to see it. So many beautiful North Cascades mountains covered in snow, showing off for spring. All I've been able to hear is birds chirping. It is cold here, but it definitely feels like spring. I am going to enjoy a beautiful trail run out of here and then head over to my next trail, because I am exploring for a little bit in the North Cascades. Right, well, I made it back to the car, and Thunder Knob in spring was really pretty. I have done this trail before in the dead of winter, but it was so fun coming back because I did find that other viewpoint that I hadn't been to before. And one thing I want to note about this trail, and I'll include some photos here, is this is another really good trail for moss. There's so much moss growing on all the rocks. I didn't get to see that when it was covered in snow. And then, looking over Diablo Lake and just all those fun peekaboo views to find of the North Cascades. These mountains really are something else when they are still covered in snow. And I really like this trail. There are a lot of really good viewpoints, and I think this is probably one of the easiest trails you can do in the North Cascades, and I think it's a really good one for how easy it is. So I highly recommend it as a family trail. It's short, it's nicely graded. The only part is the creek crossing at the beginning, so that's where it gets a little interesting. But once you pass that, it's a nice, easy trail. But yeah, I am not done here in the North Cascades. I am heading over to my next trailhead. That's going to be a separate video, so thank you so much for watching, and here are my favorite pictures from the trail today. Enjoy.